Good. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today, our weekly news podcast. With me is Team. So I want to share with you today's news, and and Team, feel free to jump in and share your thoughts.
You bet.
Yeah, the first news is from BBC. The title is called AI cracks superbug problem in 2 days. That took scientists years. So a little bit about the background story. Professor Jose was a well-known scientist, professor, and researcher in an area which trying to find out a way to know like a superbugs are immune to some antibiotics. So this is pretty much a very big topics, and a lot of researchers trying to figure out how to kind of solve this problem like a superbugs. And Later on, Google kind of gave the access to this professor, co-scientist. This is the new AI tools that Google invented to help researchers to come up with new drugs or new way of doing research, or kind of like an AI assistant. The professor said that he pretty much had his own research privately saved in his own computer, and it's about the like 10 years of research. And later on, after he used co-scientists, within 2 days, 48 hours, it came up with like a four really good
Crazy.
solutions. And the professor find out that his own research kind of fits one of the solutions that the co-scientists provide. But actually, the AI tools is doing better than his own research. He started questioning as Google, did you guys access my computer and trying to get my research? And Google said, no, it's in your own computer locally. If you didn't publish, then
Yeah.
they couldn't access it. So he started wondering. He even tell like a Google, like, give me 1 day, I wanna be in my room and just leave me alone. So this brought up a question that we all know that we spend a lot of time trying to come up with original idea. But if things is on the internet right now, it becomes like a like recently, actually, I submit my essay to like Easter Bay for my own kind of like a essay about like education, and I pretty much Google online, get like ideas, and I kind of work with like my chatbot, and they have something called originality check of
Mm.
your essay. And my originality is only 32, the score.
Mhm.
And I was like,
Oh, wow.
wow, it's so low. But the thing about it is that everything is online right now. Whatever you wrote is kind of being brainwashed. I admit that I let AI tools to work for me for a lot of things, like a first conclusion,
Sure.
but in between is me, but probably rewrote by AI. I don't know what's the originality means.
Yeah. Uh,
If humans resource and AI's resource are the same.
there's artists who say there's nothing new under the sun. Like,
Yeah.
everything gets repurposed, and good artists imitate great artists steal, I think is a quote. And it just means that you can use other people's work to kind of guide yours forward, which I think is a big thing with these AI models. It has to be trained on something. And yes, it may have taken humans 2000 years or longer to compile that information together, but it is based on human work at the end of the day. And so that source material is really, really important. And it also takes somebody who, this is where I think people get tripped up a lot is yes, AI is super easy to use and it can really save you a lot of time. It can also make you look like a big idiot if you don't know what you're talking about. So you have to be able to validate the output. And I think that that scientist was in a really great position to understand the value of the work that was coming out of it and how it aligned with his work previously.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And recently, I have my own team and doing the kind of like a design. And my student asked me a question because I said that, oh, I use ChatGPT and doing the code. And sometimes a lot of template, because I'm doing the mixed reality coding in Unity, sometimes the template, the coding were conflict. So that's
Mm-mm.
why something, if I grab this like oh, I want to do the ray casting on the canvas,
Yep.
shooting, versus the ray cast on the mesh and moving around things. Sometimes the things was not working well together. So I use like ChatGPT, and right now I saw Grok. Elon Musk already
Yeah.
released Grok 3 for free, the best on earth. And I was like, okay, let's try like a different AI. Which one is better? I try Grok 3 and I try ChatGPT all three, the best one of ChatGPT, and also ChatGPT all four. And the
Mm.
funny thing is, all four solved the problem. Grok 3 didn't, and Mini all three. The best two wasn't didn't solve the
Didn't even
problem.
solve it.
Yeah, but the all four solved the problem. And I was like, um, I don't know what's the benchmark for those two, but those two considered to be the best so far. But the less better one solved my problem. But anyway, so it um in the past I have to look up all the documentation, right? And I need to get into the logic and trying to figure out. But I just insert those two scripts and trying to ask like, hey, fix the bug for me. It didn't
Yeah.
work. Yeah, I describe the problem and I insert those two scripts and it will regenerate the new scripts and solve the conflicts.
We may have talked about this before, but I think it's important. It's the I know the people are saying they're prompt engineers, right? Like
Mm,
they know what to say in the prompt to get what they want.
mm,
I think there's a lot of interesting things at play because you have to really know what you want and
mm.
you have to ask in the right way still. It's not as complex as previously. We've been doing this for a long time. Previously, you had to write code, you had to talk in the way the computer wanted you to talk to
Yeah.
get the thing that you wanted. It's not a ton
It's
different.
exactly, if you forget about like a breaky, curvy breaks or like all those like a semicolon, you won't everything will crash. So
Yeah.
everything needs to be exact. But now it's more like you talk to computer what you want, and you still need to talk and define the specific problem in the right way. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's interesting the just the conversation between a computer like a lot of times I'll type something in Midjourney and I'll get something out and I'm like, ooh, that's not what I was thinking, but that is what I asked for. And that's a really interesting thing that happens.
Yeah, and I remember yesterday I talked to my kind of group of student, and one student mentioned that I don't want to code using AI. I enjoy the labor, and I said, yeah, I respect that uh, concept. That I don't like UI. I don't like AI. I just do on my own, human alone. Plus, yeah, and I was impressed by these types of thoughts because I thought it's more like people who already own a lot of knowledge and resist from AI, right? Like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
already really good. I'm better than AI. Why should I use AI? Hallucinate me. But right now, it's more like people who just starting learning coding and saying no to AI. I was pretty interested in this concept. And I said that, okay, so deadline is next Friday. I don't mind you code on your own and learn all the function on your own, looking at the documentation. But remember, the deadline is next Friday. So it means that you couldn't just spend 1 hour per day. You need to spend
Mhm.
more time because he told me he spent 1 hour per day. So that made me wonder that, like, I started learning coding back in 2017, and during that time I code from scratch. And I find out it was so miserable. I need to watch like 10 different tutorials and figure it out and start crossing out and
Yeah.
assembling
How
things.
much of that time was debugging and how much it was actually writing code though?
Yeah, 90% of my time was debugging. I just wrote something and it didn't work
Yeah.
immediately. So 90% or 100%, 99% of my time was debugging. And so that's why I was so appreciate AI. It was like, wow, I can focus on really solving the problem. I can focus on what types of stuff, like more high level. And right now, I was thinking about if I was born like my student, like right now I'm like a
Right now.
23,
Yeah.
24. I start learning coding. Will I resist AI or I embrace AI? I don't know, because
Yeah.
I am the person who is on the right time to use this part, because I'm kind of, I would say, intermediate person. So I find out that AI really helps me because it solve a lot of problem and teach me more coding efficiency. But think of me if I was the beginner. Well, I appreciate these tools to tell me something that I don't even know what's going on. I don't
Or,
know. That's
or
my thought.
think about our grandkids, and they will be like, they used to write code to the computer that wasn't even English, like what or whatever language. What were you doing? Like, why weren't you just talking to your computers? It'll be like having our great grandparents washing clothes with those old washboards, rather than a automatic washing machine. It's like, what is going on?
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I told my student that I respect your decision if you want to
Mhm.
code without any AI assisting tools, but just remind you that the deadline is next Friday. You need have to deliver, right? So I just do that. And I even tell him I pretty much wrote something that I'm thinking, but I do think that sometimes um, people wanna show that, hey, I'm valuable, I'm better.
It's like
But
artisanal code. It's like you can go to IKEA and get
yeah,
a piece of furniture, or you can have somebody hand make that out of walnut, and it's two completely different experiences.
yeah, I do appreciate that, because I remember that when I was drawing, when I was debugging, after I debug something, right now when I look back, it was so easy. But when I debug something, I feel like, wow, I'm so good. I like the sense of achievement.
Yeah.
Now I just put in ChatGPT and it debugs, and I kind of take this as granted. It's like, okay, it's done. For me, it's more like crossing out the text. Before, I was enjoy the difficulties and my personal improvement. I feel satisfaction. But now it's more like, oh, I have 10 need to be done this week. Cross it out. And I find out I'm more productive. I
Hmm.
don't know about enjoyment of the process, but I do. I feel the enjoyment is more accomplish the test, crossing out and see the project is folding more quickly
Do you,
instead of solving the independent problem that nobody can see on the surface. Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
do you feel like you're solving the problem better?
Yes, when I saw, because I code, but my code I would consider spaghetti code. It's
Hmm.
inefficient because I'm not from computer science background. So my code will lack of system, and sometimes it will um, conflict with other code, because sometimes I just forgot to do something that can prevent
Make it
the,
work.
yeah, made it work. So I'm more like my brand is more like a I would say spaghetti coder. But with AI, I was like, oh, every time when I find out that, oh, it didn't work. And I understand that as for computer science people, they create a efficient system. And I am learning that. And I use AI to teach me how to do this. So it's like a more for me, it's like I have some degree of understanding of coding. So I use that. I find out I learn so much. I find out the satisfaction is not me struggling and got little bit accomplishment. It's
Yeah.
more me working with AI, and I see the entire system got done. I would say the achievement is higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a little bit different.
Good.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just like a recently raised up some question, and I was like a surprise. I thought like a beginner might be really appreciate these tools because it raised you to be the intermediate engineer. It's just so cool, but people start resisting. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I was wrong. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Small sample size, maybe.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, another news is from New York Times. The title is called "AI is Changing How Silicon Valley Builds Startups." The tagline is tech startups typically raise huge sums of hiring armies of workers and grow fast. Now, artificial intelligence tools are making workers are more productive and start having a tiny team success. This types of interesting phenomena. So the quick background of this news: Grant Lee is a successful startup founder. He founded he hired only 28 people to get tens of $1 million in annual recurring revenue and nearly 50 million users. So he is quite profitable, right? So
Yeah.
imagine you got like a 50 million users and tons of $1 million as your revenue and only within 28 people. So he can predict it will become tiny team. So for example, right now, my current executing team for the project is only 3 people. We all wear big hats,
Hmm.
right? For example, I just told my team that, oh, I will do things that you guys cannot do and you guys don't want to do. I do 2 things. I'm trying to round it up, and one of my student do 3D, another one is doing development. So
Hmm.
3 people, pretty much I well rounded everything, and they do whatever they like. So this is a super tiny team, and I can see yeah, I mean I understand there are some resistance of the AI tool usage, but I do see these types of company is coming. And if you see big tech is laying off people, they are leaning. Our
Hmm.
federal government is leaning.
Yeah.
Everything start leaning, and people start wearing tons of hats and become extremely productive. That's what I see.
I think so too. It's as a product manager, I've always had to rely on engineers to go build the thing that, we designed together with UX designers. And so it's given me some ability to go create some things that I wouldn't have created. And I'm starting to pivot kind of my practice into a more creative technologist where there's an outcome that comes out with that and something that I can build, which is really kind of fun and interesting for me. I think I don't remember who said it, but somebody also said the first person who's going to start $1 billion startup by themselves is born already. And that to your point, you just don't need as many people to go do the things if you can use tools. But it's again, I keep harking him back to the olden days, as it were. If you were going to harvest 1,000 acres, in the 1800s, how many people would you have needed to do that?
Mm,
And now you can do that with a tractor.
mm,
And it's the same sort of thing. It's just a different application of it.
mm,
I also think just like that happened, there were a whole bunch of new jobs that got generated, like whole new industries. And I think we're just in that transition period where it hasn't quite we haven't made that evolution yet to the new industries.
mm. Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's like a right now technology is going so fast. Maybe we are I think after 100 years, if earth still there, if human beings still there, when they look back at us, they will think, why you have to do things? It's like
Yeah.
they will raise a question and think that we are super outdated. So yeah, so yeah, and right now I saw you see like an AI agent, right? And the Meta is hanging towards the human droid, and I just saw like a one human droid robot coming out in the family, like doing all the, all the
Chores and
chores.
the housework. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, what can I do? You see, it can code for me. It can do a lot of things for me. I feel like I did like a minimum effort of a lot of things. And and a lot of I saw some news, some people start proposing 3 days working days. You don't need to work like 5 days. Before we work like 6 days, and
Yeah.
Sunday is the only holiday. Yeah, and now people start proposing 3 days, and later on will be 2 days, 1 days, 0 days.
So what do you do with that time? Like that's an
Yeah,
interesting social question that we'll have to grapple with.
yeah, and I just realized that what can human do after 10, 20 years? So there's another interesting like news that I just saw today. It's called XR Health acquires immersive digital therapeutics company Realize Care, creating the largest AI-driven therapeutical XR platform globally. So basically, they use like a mixed reality, and then they this is the quote: by integrating our triangle tools with XR Health cutting edge XR mixed reality capabilities, we can expand across evidence based, value based care solution, helping more individual manage chronic pain and mental health condition. So pretty much they use all their tools to
Yep.
measure the patient and help them with deal with the chronic pains. So my thought is that maybe in the future it's all about human. Right now we are so focused on technology, right? And just
Hmm.
like Jensen Huang said that in the future, don't learn coding. If you are still young, don't learn coding. And like right now coding is the most hardest place to be, right?
Yeah.
But he said that they are building the infrastructure
Yeah.
for the future people to build, kind of like to realize their dream within seconds. So for example, I find out that people nowadays are anxious all the time. I'm anxious all the time as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just like it's the entire trend, entire society, right? Even though we have such a high technology, but anxious. I remember, I to be honest with you, I wanted to be born earlier. I feel like I want to be born like a year time or even older, right?
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
grandpa's time. I feel like wow, during that time, after you graduate from college, yeah, like I remember my art center professor after they graduate from graphic design, uh, like a major back in 1995, let's say,
Hmm.
and they can start their own firm and they can generate pretty stable income and people respect them because nobody knows how to use Photoshop.
Yeah.
But look at nowadays, like kids nowadays need to learn like all the stuff,
Yeah.
and even though they learn a lot of stuff, yeah, even though you see company hire junior intern, it still requires 5 to 10 years of experience. So it just feels like wow, the learning race. Yeah.
Yeah, I think things are a lot different in other ways too, right? Like,
Mm.
partially because of the pandemic, but all of my kids have had like they worked remotely for 2 years, so that's like a natural thing for them. They just don't
Yeah.
even think about it, and they're so connected to their friends. Sometimes they don't even see their friends like IRL for a whole week because they'll just hang out online, but they still are super in contact. And the way
Yeah.
that they communicate is just way different than it was when I was a kid. Like it's so interesting to see the way that they're adapting to the world and what they value kind of differently.
Yeah, same here. It's like going to the company, for example, like in person, in house, right? Personally think the productivity is not whether you are in house or not. It's the result of what you show or the impact of your contribution in the project. So whether you are everywhere, as long as you can deliver, no matter where, and right now I think the traffic is it takes a
Crazy.
lot of like a time to travel around. So as long as you can deliver your work on time, I'm totally fine with either remote or work in office. Yeah, so I just think that the world changed so fast. What remains is probably, I personally predict thinking. It is just my prediction. Maybe in the future will be mental health, and also behavior, some psychology part, mental healthy, and soft skills. I think that those might be after this like a gold rush of technology, AI, the
Hmm.
next level will be more like a um yeah, like a mental. I recently saw, yesterday I saw there was China's startups launch like a female robot and claim that can be your girlfriend.
Oh, wow.
Wow, it start like a robot start getting into the emotional provider. Yeah, I was like, wow.
I used Chat GPT last night and put on voice mode. I don't know
Mm,
if you've done that or not, but
no, not yet.
I had a conversation and I had done it in the past, but there was just such a lag between the processing time.
Hmm.
But it's gone light years. Like we were having a legit conversation, and at one point I was like, this is really weird. Like I'm talking to the robot and it's talking to me back like we've been old friends. And because it's got so much data on me, it knows a lot about me already, about hey, the things you like and you like this thing. And
Wow,
so it's really
wow.
interesting. If you haven't given that a try, I'd definitely give that a try. But to your
Yeah.
point about health, I think the way that we work today in front of computers, one reason why I'm super passionate about XR
Mm,
is because I think it'll break that model where you don't have to sit at your desk all day and do
yeah.
work, which is not good for humans from a health perspective.
Yeah, my back is always sore
Oh, yeah.
sitting.
And all the stress, you got to think that those things together limit lifespan in some way. If we reduce that, what does that mean for the human lifespan? Do we get to be 120 years old?
Yeah, yeah, and I think Saint Omen is investing a company which will extend humans' longevity up to 10 years or more. So, and we can see, wow, we will live longer. For me, I was like, wow, I don't know how to describe it. It's more like we will work less and less, and we will live longer and longer. What should we do?
Yeah, yeah. Interesting questions.
Yeah. And another news is on Fiverr. Fiverr reveals Fiverr Go, a visionary AI platform that puts creators in front and centered. So, what's Fiverr Go? Fiverr Go is a platform that allows creators to upload their work to train your own AI model. So, for example, if a long time ago, back in 2019, I was working on a project to turn Tesla into a kind of VR experience into a spaceship. It was a pretty cool concept, and I had to go to, I don't know, Fiverr or somewhere to buy a Tesla car.
Mhm.
And I remember I spent hundreds of dollars, like $400, because you see, like Tesla car, not only outside but inside, and everything need to work and have some simple animation. It took me so long to just get that model, and I spent like 400. And imagine if you are a 3D modeler, right? You need to spend that time and it costs 400. But now I can see that the creator use the AI tools to just probably sketch or just upload, or I have like a local Trellis, which is Microsoft purchased that
Hmm.
company or software. And you can just screenshot something and it will 360, and pretty soon within like less than 1 minute, it will generate a really nice 3D model. And with
Hmm.
the interior, if your picture can show interior, it can also generate. You can also generate a lot of images to depict the 3D model. So, and with the texture and
Yeah.
shaders. So, wow, it really creates super powerful tools. And also Fiverr's a creator can also generate income. It may be a little less than before, but they can take more projects, more productive?
Yeah, I've actually used Fiverr in the last 6 months. I'm working with a partner to build a MetaQuest 3
Mm,
experience,
mm,
and we used it for 3D modeling. We
mm.
got some 3D modeling work done, and we got some voiceover work done, and those things
Wow.
really added like a ton of value to the experiences that
How,
you
how
build.
how much did you pay? For example, like a voiceover
I think
and
the voiceover was $50, and I got all the voiceover that I wanted for $50.
$50.
Yeah, I
Wow.
thought that was amazing. And then I think it was close to $400. I think it was $400 for the modeling, but we had some pretty specific requests that we needed, and animation. It was also animated.
Wow.
Yeah, so it came out really good. The quality was awesome. So this is not a paid sponsorship for Fiverr, but if they want to send me some credits, I'm definitely down. Um, but you do talk about the kind of the gig economy and how people, I think people are going to have more time. And then is this something, do you pursue something that you're passionate about as a side hustle or kind of, I think these tools to help people do that are really, really good. And anything that can help them kind of create better margins on what they're doing, like the tool that you described, I think is really helpful.
Yeah, I just remember that recently I read a post from Gary. He mentioned that the advancement of AI technology is now everywhere. If you are only executing other people's idea, you must realize this has become a weakness. You can no longer just be a craftsman because the value of execution is declining. However, ideas, the role of the architect should hold lasting value. In the future, leverage will shift to those who are the creative talents, dreamers, and storytellers. So I do think that just like you said that for me, what's the part I can do to create for example mixed reality game? Maybe just like everybody become manager, right? Okay, I have an idea, and then
Yeah.
I use the tools and the tools because if if we wanna kind of compete with AI, it's very hard. I can tell you the coding skills, even though I self-taught since 2017, it's not enough to compete.
Yeah.
But if, for example, I'm the manager, I want all the 3D model to be done 400, or let's say 500. It's wow, it's amazing. Imagine you hire a person in house, right? And also voiceover. I remember last year, before all the AI voice, last year, I published a book that was kind of around the same time 11 Labs start become popular.
Mhm.
It it seems like right now we get used to AI voice, but 1 year ago, I didn't even think of that. I was trying to get a contractor to do the voice over, and I finally took me 3 months for a real person to read for me. And
Oh,
the
wow.
budget I need to quote was 3,000 to 5,000
Oh my
for
God.
one project. Yeah, so that was the price. And later on, I remember during that time, Amazon said that they are using the beta version for a person to one click, and your entire ebook will turn into an audio book
Nice.
within less than few hours. So I was waiting. I didn't do the high budgeting. I just wait. And later on I saw I was in the beta list. It was still beta. And I click it. And after that I listen. And because during that time I even create an announcement on my
Oh,
LinkedIn. I'm going to read on my own because
yeah.
it's very expensive. So I have professional recording and I use like GarageBand to record. Every day I spend 3 hours
Hmm.
read it, and I need because I have accent and a lot of words that I don't know. I have to practice a lot of times.
Yep.
So that was me working on that. And later on, I just click one button, and everything was better than what I read.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I use Riverside as a kind of the pod recording software, and to my surprise, you can type out like I do my intros as AI generated all the time. And
Mm.
because I've recorded enough stuff in there, when I type it out, it uses my voice to read what I typed back out, which is, it blows my mind. I'm like, I never said that, but there it is. So it's
Wow.
really cool. It also is interesting. You said, you can't compete with AI. I think that's kind of the mindset or the shift that people need to make is you can't compete with AI. Like I can't do math anywhere as fast as a computer is going to be able to do math.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't have to. That's not
Yeah.
what I'm designed to do. What am I designed to do? And those things like the creativity and kind
Yeah.
of the thinking and problem solving, I think that's truly human work. And I think that there will always be human work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do think that right now, there are still some stuff need to be done, right? For example, the game, right? There are still some infrastructure need to be built, but I think the AI really helps us not only doing. It feels like you got an intern or assistant almost nearly free, with like a multiple doctor degree in multiple areas,
Hmm.
and it will help you to achieve your goal. I think if we want to compete, there's no point of competing with. For example, I think the another metaphor I can provide is that if you want to fly to LA from San Francisco, if you want to walk or ride a bike, it might take a couple of days. But if you take an airplane, right, maybe in the future it's rocket. I don't know. So it will take you less than 1 hour. So I think it's the part that we use to feel proud of ourselves. For example, you mentioned that you couldn't do really good math, same as me. I
Hmm.
really don't know, but I can ask AI, and people used to feel proud of academic achievement, like, oh, I'm so good at math. But
Hmm.
now it seems like something already knows. I find out that if something has a correct answer, that AI to do it. If
Yep.
something doesn't have a correct answer, or something has a correct answer or a efficient way to do it, let's say, because somehow AI can figure out no correct answer, but efficient way to do something. If that is the case of your role, then it's very easy to get, eliminate. But
Yep.
if something that is open, for example, like create a best game that's for the user, the most popular game, the killing app. There's no answer. So I
Yep.
think it maybe, and I heard somebody said that there are tens of thousands of games in the game store, but not many killing games. Or there are tons of millions of great, let's say, user experience, nice UI, perfect coding on the App Store, but nobody download and nobody
Hmm.
use it. Yeah, so maybe this is the time to think of how to create a better application instead of I'm coding better, I am
Yeah.
designing better.
Yeah. I wrote a blog post recently and it was, to the effect, just to summarize the AI can never do anything more than meet our expectations. Like if you think about differentiation, like people talk about customer experience being a really huge differentiator. Like when you really knock somebody's socks off and it's like, wow, that was way better than I expected it was going to be. You can't get that. This is kind of what you were talking about. You tell AI what you want it to do, either through the building of the model or through your request through the prompt, and it's never going to do more than you asked it to do. It just does that level of, hey, I wouldn't even know what to do in order to do that. Does that make sense? Because you
Yeah,
have to ask it what to do. So that play on AI just meeting our expectations, the best it can do is meet our expectations, and it can
yeah.
do it really fast. I think there's a joke going around or a meme going around where somebody's like, they're at a job interview, and the person's like, well, what's your superpower? And they're like, well, I'm really fast at math. And he's like, okay, what's 730 times 3,028? And he's like 14. And he goes, you're wrong. And he's like, no, but I was really fast. I was really fast. So it's
Oh, not right, but fast. I got it.
exactly.
I got it.
So we need to understand this again goes back to having the expertise and making sure that you can validate what comes out of the AI, and it's never going to do more than you ask it to.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also, there was a book. I listened to the Chinese podcast, and it's called Codependence. That book, it talks about, oh yeah, codependent. That book talks about the concerning of AI. Pretty much, first is the labor problem. For example, it kind of like a um, people, high tech company hire workers from Kenya and pay them $2 per hour to filter out, to do the data stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are miserable. Those are the labor work. So pretty much human work to build the AI, right? And the second one is that we are producing, just like you said, your chatbot knows you so well. We are producing the data, and we are the fuel of
Hmm.
the AI chatbot, right? The more you create, the better AI will be, and the better AI will be better than you. So
Hmm.
it's like in a very interesting era. And the third one is we lose our sense of writing. For example, every time I write something, I always use the AI to, you know, to get in and see what unexpected stuff comes up. So we start losing our way of talking. For example, even podcast. If I just insert right now, there's an AI tool. I just insert a news and put two of our personality getting, it will generate a podcast that is conversational. But I personally prefer to have a few human imperfect, because before, actually I like to, at the beginning of the podcast, I like to make everything perfect, like, oh, cutting all the pause. But now I just like, wow, all those imperfection, just the thing to show this is a real human podcast. So it's like I'm cherish the imperfection.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. It's just a very interesting era that we are in, and there are a lot of concern, and also, yeah, a lot of things happen. Maybe in the future, when we look back, this is a normal thing. And
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just not get very used to it. Cool. And any thoughts you wanna share or?
Yeah, it's just that things I agree. I think change things are changing faster than we're used to them being changed. And so I think it's a lot of time. I think that's why there's a lot of uneasiness right now in the world, just in general, is that things are changing all over the place. And it's kind of hard to find something that's to grab a root and kind of feel grounded to. There was a study that was done, the show Sesame Street, for kids, right? Like kids watch the same shows over and over and over again. And the reason that they do that is because everything else is changing in the world so much that they need something to kind of ground them. So I think that they know what's going to happen, that they can expect. And so I think people in general are just yearning for a little bit of that right now. And so, conversations with people, I think, is a really great way to stay grounded.
Yeah, yeah. I just think that AI every week, everything happen, every new model. Because I actually download kind of like it's called Huion 3D generation locally, and it can
Hmm.
generate so far the best 3D model. I was downloading it, but however, a lot of Python stuff, I got some errors. I couldn't solve it. I even
Hmm.
used Quark, I couldn't solve it. However, I mean, I think after 2 to 3 months or after a few weeks, there will be another better one, probably
Hmm.
easier to install. So I don't know. It's just everything just changes so fast.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, it's the best time for people to start creating your own apps, or, yeah, just within a very short amount of, let's say, budget or time. Yeah. So
The learning curve has been the slope of the learning curve has been flattened out quite a bit.
yeah, so I don't know. I don't know how our new generation can do, but I think it's very powerful.
Hmm.
You got super powerful tools. So I think you see Doge, all the people there are like under 30 or something, like 24. So those people can operate the very, I don't know, the very high intelligent level at very young time. So I think with the kind of technology assistant, I can see a lot of young billionaires, like
What do they
a lot of
call it?
rock stars. Yeah.
Neuroplasticity, like how quickly your brain can change and stuff. I think as you're younger, you have higher neuroplasticity.
Yeah, yeah. I totally agree with that. I just when yesterday I heard my students said that they don't want to use I was like, I saw you guys love AI. And
Hmm.
I was the person who is a little resistant, but you guys said that. So
Apparently not.
com completely the opposite. So I don't know. I'm still learning and I'm still thinking about, wow, what's the young people's thinking? But it's very interesting that, yeah, I mean, I'm still growing and next week maybe I will figure it out. But I just in the process of figuring out. Yeah.
Good.
Cool.
Good in the
Awesome.
process.
Awesome. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to our conversation. And then yeah, I will see you next week. Bye bye.